Hey everyone, welcome to Pastor Play. So today we have Creed 3 currently playing in theaters nationwide, starring Michael B. Jordan, Jonathan Majors, Tessa Thompson, Phylicia Rashad, Wood Harris, and Mila Davis Kent. And this is Michael B. Jordan's directorial debut. And we open up with Adonis Creed, played by Michael B. Jordan, going into the next chapter of his life. Retired from boxing, he's starting to mentor and train the next generation of boxers. He's also taking a hand at boxing promoting. Um, as well as other professional business endeavors. And he's also starting to spend more time with his family at home with Bianca, played by Tessa Thompson, and his daughter, Amara, played by Mila Davis Kent, and trying to get his mom, played by Phylicia Rashad, to move in with them as she's getting older and has started having some health problems. Now, as Adonis is in the midst of these transitions in his professional and family life and processing what it all means and what he's going to do moving forward, an old childhood friend, Damian Anderson, played by Jonathan Majors, shows up, who was incarcerated in prison for 18 years. And Adonis feels partly responsible and tries to help Damien any way he can, but their past brings up old demons and baggage that Adonis would rather forget. Now, Damien was a former Golden Gloves champion boxer who's eager to prove that he deserves his shot in the ring and to be a champion, but knows it's now or never, and Damien has nothing to lose. The tactics in which Damien takes to get what he wants compels Adonis to get back in the ring, and the two face off to settle the score once and for all. That's about all I can say without spoiling the movie. Now, let me just say that everyone is great in this film, and this is very much Creed's film without being in Rocky shadow. And it's tonality wise or tone wise, this is very much like the Rocky world or the Rocky universe, however you kind of want to look at it, but having the focus set on Creed and defining the character even more than before. This movie really does that. This is very much Creed's film. This is not trying to move the forward story of Rocky or to try to tell his story or have him in the mix. It's all focused on Creed and the dynamic of his life and how he's kind of balancing all those different aspects of his life. Now, Jonathan Majors is great here as the villain or adversary to Creed, who underneath it all is hurt that Creed just forgot about him and how his life has turned out. And he's willing to do anything to get what what he's lost and what he feels he deserves. And two, I think a big appeal of this movie too is, like, the fact that both of them have been in Marvel, the MCU, Majors as Kang, and Michael B. Jordan as, oh my god, I can't even think of the name. And Michael B. Jordan as Killmonger. Totally left my brain for a second. Sorry, I'm not even taking this out. And I think people kind of want to see, some people are kind of seeing it as Kang versus Killmonger, the K versus the K. So I think, and how people are talking about how Ant-Man and the box office is kind of, not as great as previous films, because that film overall was just like okay. Jonathan Majors was one of the highlights of that film. But it's just an okay film, and the quality of MCU films have gone down. But either way, I think that because they both have been in the MCU and how their stars have been rising over the years, I think that adds to the overall appeal of this film, and I think this is going to do this film's box office very well. Um, but either way, one of the main focuses of the film is family and its different complexities and the aspects of it. Creed's boxing family at Delphi Boxing Academy, his family at home, and his brother relationship with Damien, and the balancing act dynamics that Creed has to take in navigating the relationships he has, and maintaining those. The film has a lot of heart with the character Mara Creed, and also how the film sets up her maybe becoming a boxer who's deaf, and from a perspective of the female boxing world and telling that story. So I think that would be really cool. They also set up two kind of telling the story of a Mexican or Hispanic boxer. In that story, one of the one of the boxers that Creed is mentoring slash training is Felix from Mexico. So, they could also start telling other stories, maybe how the boxing world is in other countries, or how, kind of showing the perspective from that aspect too. And then there's also the Delphi Boxing Academy that Creed now kind of co-owns with Tony Little Duke Burden, played by Wood Harris, where they're training and mentoring up and coming boxers, helping kind of continue on the legacy of the overall Creed, the Creed, the Creed name, but also to just also prepping and preparing these future boxers to become champions and legends in their own rights. And they could easily, I would say, do a series with that, with maybe Wood Harris being maybe at the being like the main character, and Jordan coming in as maybe like kind of a guest starring role, or it could be just the both of them operating that, and setting up fights and different things like that. So I think that would be really cool. So they have a couple little bit of nuggets of like where this could go in future movies. Will it still be focused on Creed entirely? Maybe, yeah. But it could also spin off into these other types of things. So I think that's really cool. There's a lot of setup here as far as those things, but it's still very much focused on Creed and that dynamic. Um, Now, this is a directorial debut of Michael B. Jordan, who does a great job here with the fight scenes shot in IMAX, giving the viewer a more immersive, personal experience as if you're in the ring with them yourself. It will be interesting to see what films Michael will direct in the future as he hones his craft as a director and finds his voice or style in that arena as a director. Um, so overall, what I would tell you to do with your money is play. This is a very entertaining film with heart and good story, with a good script, with great performances. If you like this review, hit the like button, please subscribe, and check out some of my other videos.